You're very welcome back. Now, hard to believe, but the Marie Keating Foundation marks its 20th anniversary this month, having raised almost €1 million to support people living with cancer and helping to raise awareness of the disease.
With us this morning is Linda Keating, Marie's daughter and the Foundation's co-founder and director of fundraising, and one of its new ambassadors, Kilkenny hurling legend and holder of just the 8 All-Ireland hurling medals, Eddie Brennan. I was going to say we've 8 All-Irelands here on the couch between the two of us, but Eddie has them all. You're very welcome, guys.
Morning, guys.
How are you doing? Linda, 20 years. It's been an incredible story. Can you believe what's happened in the last 2 decades?
Well, it's 20 million actually we've raised, over the 20 years. And it's hard to look back and think, you know, where we were 20 years ago. We were just a family sitting around a table trying to prevent other families going through what we went through, losing our mother. She was only 51 years of age. And we found out a year after she died that her form of breast cancer was actually the most curable. So if she had been aware, she'd be alive today and she'd only be 71, so she'd be still quite a young woman. So we wanted to put mobile units on the road and nurses who would go out into areas and speak to people who wouldn't go to the doctor themselves or do something about an illness that they had.
Your mother would have went out of her way, Linda, to avoid a hospital. And there's lots of people, myself included, who are a little bit like that. Yeah, no, not anymore, but there's a fear there, you know, and a sense that you'll put things off and it'll be grand.
Yeah, out of her 5 children, Mum had 4 of us at home, so that'll say, it's called the white coat syndrome, or so they say. So it's getting out there and getting the message out there that there's no such thing as a stupid question with your doctor. You know, we've developed other campaigns and programmes over the years. We started out with just our mobile units and our nurses, and then we moved on to hospital oncology refurbishment programmes where we would do up a hospital waiting room because Mum had to sit on a plastic chair in a hallway for up to 4 hours waiting on her bloods. Now, that's nobody's fault. But we just wanted to make it a little bit more comfortable for people. We're always coming from the patient's point of view. So through the SPHE and the Board of Education, we've also set up a schools programme. So that's teaching students in the Sealer cycle in secondary school to be aware of their own bodies, to look out for changes. If you get a toothache, you're going to go to the dentist. It's as simple as that. The dentist is not going to tell you you're being silly by coming in, even though the tooth doesn't have to come out. You know, it's just simple measures that we're trying to make and instill in people. You know, and we did start out primarily just as breast cancer awareness. Because that's what Mum died from. We also thought we would build the units, put them on the road, run them for a year and hand them over to the government because we feel it's something so simple that should be provided to people. So as we look at 20 years, we're just taking a step back and looking at ourselves and saying, you know, how can we further help people? You know, what more can we do? Because we feel like we're only tipping the iceberg.
But the mobile units, lots of people will be familiar with and they'll have seen them drive around the country and they're hugely important. But there's also the thing of the Comfort Fund, which I think is just such an essential resource, isn't it, for families who are going through cancer? Because you can't plan.
No. And there was a survey done, and per month, €862 extra people will have to pay just because they've been diagnosed with cancer. And that's, you know, medication before they can get their medical card. It's paying the extortionist prices that there are to park your car at the hospital. Babysitters to look after the kids when you're going for your treatment. You know, you have a loss of income because you're not working. People who are going through chemotherapy, even in the summer months, are freezing and need the heat on 24/7. So it's all of those. So it's a comfort fund that we give to people. And there is an increase of 338% that has been put on the Marie Keating Foundation with the demand for that because another charity had that comfort fund and no longer do it. So, and rather than being able to give so much more to people, we're giving lesser amounts, but at least we're giving it to everybody. And that is relieving people so much so they can worry about their illness instead of having to worry about finances on top of it.
Of course.
It's an extraordinary body of work that you've done in the 20 years in your mother's name. And as you mentioned there, you are moving into areas like the SunSmart programme, which is involved in the Bloom weekend at the moment. You may just tell us about that as well as what Eddie's involved in.
We'll get to you, Eddie. We promise.
Sorry, Eddie. I hope we're not taking over.
That's the expert.
No, not at all. But well, skin cancer is the most popular, horrible word to say, cancer in Ireland, and it's very curable. So our garden at Bloom has been sponsored by MSD, and they have just created this new treatment for skin cancer, which is absolutely fantastic, it's bringing it, and so the bright colours in our garden, and if you look at the path of our garden, it kind of goes up and down, and that's the cancer journey. There's areas where you can sit and relax, and when you're in the sun, you need to be SunSmart, and La Roche-Posay have given us sun samples to give out to everybody at Bloom. So there's samples there for everyone. Just the importance, and they're factor 50. We think in Ireland, you know, oh, the sun's not out, so we're not getting, the rays aren't coming through. They're coming through the clouds. You know, I mean, we really need to be SunSmart. You know, if it's caught in time, it's very, very curable skin cancer. And can I just add that more women are diagnosed with skin cancer in Ireland, but more men die from it. So Eddie being our ambassador and being out, you know, all women out in sports, it's fantastic to have someone like Eddie who's giving us, you know, who's an ambassador for us and getting the message out there.
Yeah, like Eddie, for us men, a lot of it is going. I mean, it's the thing you were talking about, the white coat syndrome. A lot of men don't want to go and get themselves checked out. A lot of men do work in outdoor jobs. I know you're a guard by profession, a profession that spends a lot of time outdoors. So is this about people recognising, watching this today and saying, yeah, I got to be conscious of this?
Yeah, I think it was something we were talking about off air, that because of our weather in Ireland, we tend to just, the sun comes out and we start talking off, and you kind of think, brilliant, the sun is here. But in that sense, you know, when I was asked to come on board with this, I suppose it made me think of my own maybe journey with it or whatever, and you're kind of thinking, I'm not really that educated on it and you don't understand it. And I think that's the big, for me, the big thing of this is the awareness, because like you said, Tommy, a lot of the Irish fellas, I'm going to use the fellas because we're the ones most likely to die from it, you don't put on sunscreen, you don't go getting checked out. You kind of, in a way, it's a macho thing maybe sometimes not to get checked out just to be sure. But I think a lot of it is that you're going to matches, your work maybe expose you a little bit more. And I just think of people going to matches and you look at it and say, well, I could sit in the stand watching a match for 3 or 4 hours and the sun is hitting down on top of you and you think, gosh, it's great, the sunny weather. And even more so, I recall myself when I was younger going to the beach on days when there was no sun out and you think, I'm grand, I'm safe, and you come home and you're absolutely scalded. So a lot of it is just, it's education, it's awareness, and being that bit smarter in what you're doing, because when you're out and about, you are exposed to it, and no more than guards when they're out and about working at these events.
So, Linda, I suppose the awareness is out there. We're definitely getting better, aren't we? I mean, I had a mole removed, so I did go and get that checked out, and it was on the cusp of something dangerous, and they took the roots out. So we're definitely getting better. I think even GPs, because I was sitting in my GP for something completely different, and she was the one who pinpointed the mole on my arm, which I would have thought was a freckle. So we've changed the way we're thinking on the whole thing. Mole mapping has become the norm for most people, has it?
Oh, it is. For people, it's just really making people aware. Somebody asked me yesterday, Linda, what about farmers? You know, do they ever put their sunscreen on? Are they SunSmart? We're just, you know, it's never too late to start. Do you know what I mean? People think, oh my God, that's been there for years, I better not do anything about it. You know, I leave it, I'll ignore it, it'll go away. Yeah. But no, you're right, Anna. People are coming out and they're doing more about it. And as I say, it's never too late to be SunSmart.
I'm from a farming background, and for years we would have been out and about doing bales or doing work, whatever it was, and sunscreen was never
talked about.
You know, whatever it was, and you're exposed to it all day because of your work. So definitely, I can vouch for it. I'd say
so is
very
it
few
the
farmers.
older generation we need to work on? I know I'd have to run around after my dad, you know, if he was going out for a day playing golf or something, to make sure he has sunscreen, because it wouldn't dawn on him.
Yeah, no, but I also think that younger people think, oh, I want to get a tan, I'm going to look great with a tan.
A lot more body conscious, aren't they?
Absolutely. And I mean, they have to look at what they're going to do to their skin as well. They're going to wrinkle it. So young people out there, don't go wrinkling your skin too early.
Your skin.
So you're actually doing yourself a double favour by putting on sunscreen. You really are.
You'll have to indulge me, and I get a few hurling questions into Eddie.
Go on.
You're sitting there. Sorry, Eddie. You're saying you're sitting at matches for hours. This summer has been brilliant so far, Eddie. What have you made of it so far?
From an entertainment point of view, you couldn't ask for better. We're getting like the match last night. I mean, Cork and Limerick served up an absolute dinger of a match, and I was, you know, literally back in last night. I was just back from holidays, and it was the first thing in my mind was sitting down to watch this.
It's great. It's a feast, isn't it?
Oh, it was just an absolute feast yesterday, and again, more of a coming today. But I suppose for me, the bodies now are the ones that are going to. The players have given so much to this, and at the end of 4 or 5 hard weeks, there's going to be.
Is it too tough, this schedule on the players, Eddie?
It probably is. Players will tell you, and I know as a player I would love facing into that kind of a system where you're just recovering and going to matches, so you don't have the hard slog to do. But I do think we need to probably give them a little bit, tweak it a little bit, give them a chance to freshen up, because you could make the argument that somebody that plays 2 matches and gets a break gets to watch the opposition, you know, whoever has to play 4 matches, you know, I think is a tip Waterford, Wexford and Offaly, I think, have to play 4 matches straight. So that's within a 21-day period. That's a heavy going for guys that probably have to get up and go to work on a Monday morning.
And Eddie, finally, Kilkenny are finished, beaten by Galway last week. Is that the verdict, is it?
Yeah, done
no
and
chance.
dusted now. So, look, next weekend's a big one for them. Yeah, look, they've slipped back a tiny bit, but I still think on their day they're as good as anything out there. But I think all in all, the championship has been quite good, and I'm looking forward to what comes next, because it really boils down to the next 2 or 3 weekends to sort out the wheat from the chaff.
In one word, who's going to win the All-Ireland?
I think Galway look very, very strong at the moment.
There you go. All done now. Thanks.
You're in trouble. You're in trouble. Our floor manager is doing a dance beside the camera. And Eddie, thank you very much
Brilliant
for joining us.
Thanks very much.
Thanks for having
Now
us.
up next, we're back. You can take the you-know-what for that. We're back over to hear some of the heartwarming stories behind the Dublin Women's Mini Marathon. See you in a few.